Okay guys, this video is going to be in response to the literally tons of PMs I get every month about what I think about India guns, which this is my India 1795 Springfield versus Italian guns, and this is my Italian Pedersoli Brown Bess. And just so nobody has any illusions as we go out through this video, Pedersoli wins hands down every single time. Every single time. So I just want everyone to understand that before we get any further. Now, there are some good qualities about these India guns if you're the right kind of person, but we'll get into that. So as I was telling you, this is my 1795 India gun, 1795 Springfield, and it has been a great gun. I've probably put close to 350, 400 rounds through it, and it continues to work. However, I had to buy 3 of these before I finally got to one that would function reliably, didn't have some kind of problem with the lock, didn't have some kind of problem with the barrel. 3 of them. This is the 4th one. So basically what I'm going to say there is, if you're ready for a lot of frustration, then you can go with the India gun. Alright? And you know, for some people, they have to go with this gun because they don't have the money to get, you know, a Pedersoli. Some of these can be really expensive, you know. Some of these brown besses go upwards of $950, $1,000, depending on where you're looking at getting it from. And they're rare, you know. It's not like tons of places have them in stock. So, but where these India guns are concerned, what you have to be prepared for is, like for this particular piece, you got to be prepared to spend $650 to $700 on it, and then you have a 50-50 chance of getting a good gun or a crappy gun, which then you need to make sure for 100% before you buy it that the company you're buying it from, and most companies don't even make these anymore, they don't get them from India anymore, but India guns in general, you need to make sure the company that you're getting them from will take returns. Alright, and a lot of them have strict rules about when they'll take returns. You know, you can't modify it or anything. If you get an India gun and there's a problem with it, you need to return it to whoever you bought it from and not play with it, because a lot of the steel on the locks and the steel on the frizzen is just crap metal, and sometimes it's pot metal, and even heat treating it won't help, won't do anything, and then the person who sold it to you will know that you messed with it and they won't warranty it. So if you get one and it's problems from the beginning, send it back, try again, or move on. And like I was saying, sometimes the India guns are people's only options because they can't afford this. And that's great, you know. One of my first muskets, I should say, when I was first getting started, was an India gun. It was this 1795 because I really wanted a 1795, but a Pedersoli 1795 is almost $2,000. And you know, I was 19 years old. I couldn't put $2,000 on a musket, whereas the India musket of it was only about 600, you know, shipped. So, but again, I had to get 3 of them before the 4th was finally okay. And not only that, I had to do a lot of tuning work on the lock, and that required know-how. So you might get one, and you've got to be the judge of whether it's worth, you know, sending off to somebody who knows how to fix it. And usually I can do this, and you guys can talk to me. Right now, in terms of sales, I have to sell everything in bulk, which is why I'm basically sticking with reenactors. But I can do repairs on anybody's musket. I can harden frizzens, and but there are India guns that come in that I can't even fix. And if I had the spare parts, you know, I could fix it, but then getting spare parts from India, no 2 parts are alike, and I kid you not, like not even close. So they're just an all-around pain to work with. Whereas the Pedersoli, they're completely interchangeable parts. There are minor differences, minor fitting if you need something done. And this gun probably has over 500-600 rounds in it, has never hiccuped, always goes off, and it's just been an all-around pleasure to shoot. And out of the box, it's just been great. Never ever had a problem with it. The lock alignment, the lock geometry, it's all perfect. So this is frustration free, but it's expensive. This be prepared for frustration. You might get lucky and get it and it'll be great, but you might be in it for the long haul. For real. These things can be very frustrating. So it all comes down to what you, the user, need. I'm not dogging on one over the other. India guns can be nice if you get lucky, or if you know somebody, like me, who can usually get them up in good condition. They can be nice. So I'm not going to discourage that, because there are a lot of cool guns, by the way, that come out of India that Pedersoli here doesn't make. There's a lot of neat stuff that you can get, like double-barreled shotgun flintlocks and different kinds of pistols. My Germanic Dragoon pistol is Indian. Well, mostly. I had to do a lot of modifications to get that one to work too. But, that's something you got to consider when you're thinking about, should I get an Indian gun or should I get a Pedersoli? So I would say if you can afford a couple $100 more, I would go with Pedersoli every time, because it will be headache free. It'll be an absolute pleasure to shoot. The quality is just 10 times on this as it is to this. So, but like I said, for those of you out there, again, on a budget, you want to get an India gun, contact me. Chances are I've bought an India gun from wherever you're looking at. I've bought India guns from 4 or 5 different suppliers now. And, if you're nervous about something, I've owned or sold a lot of the different models of India guns. You can go ahead and PM me and ask me what I think. They do vary from model to model, and how much quality of each musket. I mean, they vary a lot quality wise from model to model for whatever reason. But and if you end up with an India gun that is having problems, feel free to PM me and we will get things started, and I can definitely get you taken care of lock wise for fairly cheap. I'm cheaper than anybody that I know. And if I get it and I look at it and I'm saying, this is beyond me, I'll just let you know and ship it back, because some of them are beyond me. And like I said, if they come in pot metal, I'm not going to touch it, because that won't take a heat treat and it's just going to be a nightmare. And the best thing to do would be just to send it back. Oh, and another thing about the India guns that I almost forgot. India guns come in teak. The stock is going to be teak wood. This is actually a really good quality stock right here for an India gun. This is on the very high end of what you can expect. It doesn't get any better than that. So the chance of you getting something like that is slim. A lot of them, not some of them, come in really rough, looking. They look like they're made from a crate, and there's not a lot you can do with teak. It's really hard wood. It cracks really easy, and you can, sand it away and then put a finish over it and it'll look decent, but you just got to be careful with it because of how hard it is. It will crack easy. So that's another thing. But again, I'm not totally dogging on India guns, because the really nice thing that I'm going to show you here real quick about the India guns is there are so many different kinds that Pedersoli doesn't make. Like the first model Brown Bess, Pedersoli doesn't make that. Various officers' fusils and Spanish muskets, Germanic muskets, Jaegers, ship's carbines, blunderbusses, dog locks, double-barrel flintlock pistols like from Pirates of the Caribbean, matchlocks, and fusil de chasse. That's a really nice gun that's made in India. And you can get these guns other places, custom gun kits, or you can have somebody build them for you. But again, then you're looking at the $1,500 to $2,000 range for something small like a blunderbuss. And again, a blunderbuss for an India gun is only like $350, $400 versus several thousand to have one built from a quality kit. So it does give the poor man, or the guy that isn't willing to spend thousands of dollars on this kind of thing, an outlet to go and find something like this for a reasonable price. So just keep that in mind too. Like I said, anybody have any questions about different India things, go ahead and PM me. I can help you with a lot of it. I can repair a lot of it. So just let me know, because that is the one thing that I personally like about India guns, is I can buy something like a fusil de chasse or a blunderbuss, and I can play with it until it will work properly. And then I have a gun that I only spent $400, put about $200 worth of labor in it, because time is money, but it's working for me now, and it's still a lot less than a custom kit is. So just bear all this stuff in mind. And some of you may ask, well, what about Japanese muskets from places like Dixie Gun Works? I've only worked on about 10 different Japanese muskets, and some of them I've been really disappointed in. I gotta tell you, some of them, I would prefer an India gun over some of the Japanese guns off of Dixie Gun Works, just because they have retarded things on them, like the stock is in 2 pieces. Like the Japanese Charleville is a 2-piece stock. It's cut underneath the barrel band there, the rear barrel band. And a lot of them will have insanely long tangs that look retarded looking screws. You know, quality wise, in terms of how the lock works, is better than an India gun right out of the box only, but I'm kind of disappointed, I should say, in a lot of the Japanese guns from Dixie Gun Works, in terms of, you know, how good they look, how good they function. But I haven't had that much experience, like I said, but with the experience that I have had, it hasn't been much over the India guns. You know, I wouldn't say they're very much better, and again, they're a lot more expensive. So just stuff to bear in mind. Feel free to comment, PM, and I'll catch you guys later.